Today, we are diving deep into the fusion of science and spirit, where NASA's rocket engineering meets healing energy. My guest, Amanda Smith, an aerospace engineer whose hands have literally touched the stars through her work on NASA's Artemis program. But her heart is equally driven by intuition and healing. From designing life support systems in space to helping athletes heal on Earth, Amanda's story is a testament to how the mind, body, and spirit can be both broken and rebuilt. Let's jump into a conversation that's sure to be unlike any you have heard before. It's about to go down. It's your boy, Carlos Siqueira, a.k.a. Carlos Inspire, for another episode in the house. And welcome to the stage, Amanda Smith. How are you, my sister?
Oh my gosh, I'm great. That intro was baller.
Let's freaking go. We have, every single guest here, they want to hire me to MC and be the intro. One of my good friends, Frank Shamrock, shout out to my brother Frank. He's out there on the park in San Diego, always teaching people how to fight. He's one of the guys that pretty much invented UFC. And he's like, Carlos, you are hired. Between you and the other guy that say, let's get ready to rumble, you are. I say, that's an awesome compliment. Have to go after him as he done such incredible, amazing job emceeing, introducing people in boxing, MMA, and on TV. So pretty cool. Appreciate that, my friend. Guys, I'm super excited. As you guys know me, this guest over here, I'm going to go straight to it, Amanda. I mean, you design everything from toilets for zero gravity to spaceships that could travel beyond the moon. Talk about, designing some cool shit. How does someone move from engineering cool stuff like that in a lab to healing the human body? Let's just go straight to that.
When I was working on the Artemis program, I also got my yoga teacher training certification and started teaching yoga to the engineers. And it became very apparent to them that I was more than just an engineer. A couple of them would call me a witch, which was entertaining.
It's like a compliment nowadays, right?
I mean, may or may not be a compliment. Depends on which society we're talking in.
Yeah, for
real. But what they were pointing out was this innate need to help people heal and help them do that through the body. And Artemis is a human in the loop program. We have astronauts on board. When I switched over to satellites after Artemis, I quickly realized this is not my jam. This isn't something that I enjoy anymore because there's no human factor to take into consideration. And that was where the exit from aerospace started and the entry into what I do now, which is body whisper healing, began.
Interesting. It's funny, you're talking about witch at the beginning. It's like I read, many different Bibles. I love reading and studying from early philosophies and empires. And I'm very open and I love learning different things. And, it's funny how in many of the Bibles, they don't talk about healing, and healing was done so often, right? Like Jesus, for example, for everybody who loves my brother Jesus, he was out there healing from prostitutes to crazy people, like, everyone, no judgment. And, it was something that was often applied, but they don't talk much about that part, right? And then if you have any type of ability growing up, we couldn't talk about those things at a young age because, and then they will label as something, what is witch or El Mágico or whatever, right? and all kinds of names that we're using third world countries. But it's a very interesting. You brought it up. It kind of got me back into thinking about some of the stuff. I love those type of things, man. If you have an ability, talk about it. Get out there, I love it. If you get an ability, if you can lay hands on somebody, sometimes if you accept it, and then it's like, what do you think you attract? And I'm a firm believer, if somebody offered to heal you and lay hands on you, the same way how Jesus did, and if you open to it, it's incredible what we can do. So even my good friend Tony Robbins, shout out to my brother Tony, we often talking about in psychology, you can actually, if you like lately we see a lot of division, a lot of hate, right? And it takes a lot of energy to feel. Since we're talking about energy and healing, it takes so much energy to build hate. And you got to be careful with the energies that you are evoking, that you are thinking about, because things can actually change internally in our body, right? We create inflammation. People, they don't realize you can change the color of your eyes just with the intention. So much stuff out there from levitation and things that people, they don't really understand, because now finally, thank God to Elon, buying the media, ex Twitter. I heard he's going to buy Fox. So thank you, brother. So now people are going to be more and more open to this, Amanda, so that I pray that you get on many, many more shows, my friend, on a national TV to talk about healing and energy and healing others. But let's talk about, the Artemis program.
Yeah.
It's aimed at taking humans farther into space than ever before. What it was like working on a project of such a magnitude, and how did your intuitive side came into play?
When I got on the program, it was an interesting journey on Artemis. So it wasn't called Artemis when I got on the program. It was called Constellation. And the president who was in play at the time, that was his big push. And I got on the program in 2007. Okay. And in 2008, Obama came into office.
Were you here in the Bay Area, in Silicon Valley?
No, this is here in Denver. So,
okay. Yeah, I've been here for 20 plus. I have a lot of friends in NASA.
Yes. There's a lot of NASA centers, and I got to visit a lot of NASA centers. Unfortunately, I've never been to Goddard. I've been near it several times, but never actually at Goddard.
I want to go inside. I want to do a podcast from inside the rock. I want to be one of the first ones. I bet she's going to probably bring Joe Rogan, since they kind of help him out. But, I'll put my name on the hat. Pray for me, my people. Let's everybody tag Elon Musk. Carlos inspired. But all right, back in.
I mean, that path, honestly, NASA is so hands deep in Artemis. But when it comes to SpaceX and it comes to Blue Origin, so these are your private space communities. Shout out to Virgin. Can't forget Virgin Galactic.
Yeah. A lot to do with it.
All of these companies, you can pay your way on and become an astronaut and get your astronaut wings on board any of those vehicles. And they're continuing to prove that they're a viable thing to ride on. So you got options, Carlos.
It's interesting. The whole thing, the future, right? You can get a cab, you're going to have a little condominium in space. It's incredible, the stuff that these people talk about. I was talking to, I have a billionaire friend of mine. I won't mention names because he doesn't like when I talk about his money. But, whenever I'm speaking in Dubai or London, they're talking about the stuff that these people are up to. Like the royals, they got so much cash. And the things, you see, I always tell people, tell me about your goals, your dreams, your financial goals. Mm-hmm. I often tell people, be careful where you set your goals at, because you never, ever, ever outdo your highest aspirations. So just let that sink in for a minute. So whatever your highest goals is, my friends, how you guys know why Tony calls me the Latino Tony Robbins? I set very strong goals. And you guys know my mission is not about business, it's personal. I want to end poverty. I want to end sex trafficking. I want to end organ trafficking. The only way I can do it is by interviewing, by mentoring, by helping other influencers take it to the next level, achieve their goals, give them more exposure. Everybody rise. The same way how when I was in military, shout out, yesterday was Veterans Day, is above oneself.
Thank you for your service.
No casualties. That's plenty money on the table for all of us to eat it. But my point was, these people, Amanda, they think so high up. They're talking about building and creating a new era of spaceships that can go out and mine asteroids. And I said, okay, how much it costs to build one of these babies? And they're like, about $250 million. And what is the profit? About $1 trillion. I'm like, holy shit. See, I'm talking about making a few, $100 million and this and that. And these people are talking about trillions. Talk about a whole nother level of mindset coming together, a few billionaires and royals and wealthy families, putting 250 billion into this machine, go out of space, go mine some shit, make $1 trillion, come back, let's do it again. I'm like, it's not about like hang around the barbershop long enough and you get a haircut. So, but it's interesting. I'm really enjoying this topic, Amanda, and it's just incredible. But so just talk to me about something here. Let's talk about the astronaut toilet design. Because I bet you this is stuff that people think about when it goes out, like how you do right those things on space. And it's a fascinating mix of science and real human experience.
Yes.
How did you approach that unique challenge? Like, because you were tasked with that particular task.
So my first engineering job was actually toilets in supermarkets, planes, and prisons. And
I love it.
Every time I get on a plane now, I have to go to the bathroom and see if it's one of my toilets.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
It was all vacuum water waste systems is what those are. So it's suction. You can hear it when you push that button on a plane. And in space, it's similar, but you have to think about fluid dynamics. In space, fluids like to float. We've all seen the astronauts with the water pellets in front of them, and they will grab it with their mouth or they'll draw their finger through it and it'll separate into a bunch of pieces. Well, that's happening with their other fluids too. And that's floating all around in the capsule that they're riding in. So Artemis is like a 6-man tent. Yeah. And if you can imagine having a little itty bitty airplane bathroom in a 6-man tent where all of the fluids float around, it's fine when you're not in gravity, but trying to go to the bathroom in space, well, that takes a whole lot of different muscles. And so designing the space that they were in, we had to take into consideration how they have to bear down to get things to move through their body without gravity.
Holy Larry.
Yeah. And
like
so,
hearing from you as the engineer who designed those things from spaceship and even thinking about it and imagining, right? 6 men is a small freak. I'm a 6'5", 300-pound giant. And so for me, it's a really hard
astronaut
airplane. I don't care if you're on a freaking first class in an airplane, still kind of small. I don't even think it's an astronaut suit for my size. I'm gonna have to have Elon and do one for me. But that's so very, very interesting, my friend. Wow, what a task.
Well, and that was something that NASA took into consideration when they were picking their astronauts was how big are these people? And a good chunk of them were from the Air Force. And the Air Force also takes into consideration those things because they have to fit into the cockpit of their planes. Yes. Right. And those things are all designed for a certain size human. And well, Carlos, 6'5" ain't cutting it. You're not going to fit, man. I'm sorry.
Already eliminated on the Artemis program.
Not on the Artemis program.
Oh, not even apply.
I'm not sure you would have made it on the shuttle program or the Mercury program. If you've ever seen or met any of the astronauts, the men are probably right around that 5'8", 5'10" zone. The women are somewhere between 5'4" and 5'8". Like they're above average, but average humans.
Yes. No, man, I'm telling you, man, it's incredible how you build something so small, compact on a 6-man tent. And I often tell people the smaller solutions often make the biggest impact. And we as humans, sometimes we tend to see something little and we're like, nah, or something less. But like, as I always say on the stages around the world, in multiple languages, less is more.
Keep it simple, silly.
For real, right? I always tell people, how do we often overlook the smallest things? Just like we got to pay attention because magic can happen from that. But I mean, you've been going through some major like physical and emotional struggles as an athlete, as I was doing some background on you. And me, I love athletes. I'm on one of the advisor council members for Team USA. Shout out Team USA MMA in Romania, rocking and roll. We were there with Dracula this past month. But how did those experiences reshape your view on health and healing?
So I started playing sports at a very young age, and I was a 3-sport athlete from 8 years old all the way to my junior year of high school. And that's where I quit basketball because the coach was saying, you know what? We don't want you to practice any other sports. And at that point, I'd already made the decision I'm going to college to play softball. And I ended up going Division 1 and Division 2. And there's where the things got weird. So as an athlete, injuries are common. We're used to dealing with injuries. They're obvious to coaches, so coaches have a way to handle it. You have crutches, you have a cast. Those are obvious in their eyes, like, duh, you're injured. I can't use you on the field. I can't use you on the court. But between Division 1 and Division 2, I had to take a mental break. And this was where I saw my body start to break down. So I was dealing with things like GERD, which is acid reflux. I was diagnosed with IBS, and that's kind of a very obvious label, in my humble opinion. It's basically telling you, yep, you have gut pain, and that's it. Like, yes, I told you that, but now I have this lovely acronym. And I was also dealing with fibroadenomas. I was dealing with depression. I was dealing with a lot of things all at once because I had to quit the Division 1 sport because the coach showed up in a light that I wasn't willing to deal with. I set a hard boundary and said, I'm done. And that was the first time that I'd ever quit anything, anything that I'd loved.
Yeah.
And it broke me. And it put me in a very dark place. And my body started to show all of the darkness. And going into Division 2, I had to heal all of those things or continue to heal those things as I was playing softball again at the collegiate level, but at an easier collegiate level than Division 1, top 25 in the nation, playing against the best. At the time, if softball was as popular as it is now, I would have been on ESPN a bit. So gives you an idea of what level I was playing at for softball. Going to Division 2, I could finally focus on mechanical and aerospace engineering as my degree and play softball. Whereas Division 1, I was killing myself to do both of those things, not getting any sleep, not really doing great in school at all, and struggling with the sport because I was struggling with the relationship with the coaches. And so dealing with my health at that time gave me tools now that I use in the work that I do now. And it was a blessing and a curse.
Wow. No, I can relate big time having some relationship with coaches at a young age and not butting heads where I want to become a forward, not a defender in soccer. And I was like, had to abandon one of my dreams. But there's another, I will leave that story for another day.
Yeah. There's a lot there to unpack.
It's a lot of there, and speaking of basketball, shout out. It's funny how you and I were talking about sports before the show. And I shout out to my brother, Coach Mike Green from the Golden State Warriors, handling the best book, personal development, mindset, and mental health in the world. Work Like an Immigrant by yours truly, Carlos Siqueira. Great shout out, man. Work Like an Immigrant. Coach Brown gave it to the Golden State Warrior athletes, and they won the title. Just saying, you want to win some stuff. And 100%, guys, of the book proceeds, as you guys know, goes towards 100% or causes. The drill. I want to end hunger. We have a lot of initiatives. We go out there on parking lots. We look for moms selling tamales and strawberries and fruits. And often they have kids with them. And we ask them how much you make for a day. And we give them 2 to 3 times that amount. And it's just incredible. You guys know me. I don't like to have funds on people's face when we are giving and donating because often, who would like to see that? And my mom and I, we were on the streets 30 plus years ago. I was selling my bread. My mom was selling all kinds of stuff, and, it's about life is all about the mission, never the commission. So great shout out to my brother, Mike Brown and the Golden State Warriors, even though I am a Lakers fan, but all right, guys. So back to it. And, I mean, many athletes, they experience mysterious health issues, and that they don't show up like, on tests. I can relate it. It happens to my own family and many friends of mine. And I have a lot of CEOs and founders of Fortune 500 companies. They follow me, and a lot of their highest performers, right, in sales and executives and team leads, this also applied to you guys, because you guys are like athletes in your field in corporate America. And sometimes you're operating at such a high levels, and the performance goes away. It might be something happening there that you guys are not aware, the same way how it happens with athletes, because you guys are athletes in your field. So, and that brings me to one of your superpowers, Amanda. How did you develop your body scan system, and what does raw intuition play in detecting these hidden issues?
Oh, one of your guests was one of my first teachers, Cable Jones.
Shout out to Cable Jones, episode 81 of the CarlosInspireShow.com, every Monday, 7:17 a.m. Pacific time. All right, Amanda, right back at you.
So Cable was one of the first people to really help me understand how to hone the gift, because what was happening for me at the time when we met, I was done with sports at the collegiate level, but I was still playing sports. I'm a power lifter and a yoga instructor, and I'm a world qualified power lifter, no less. So I can move some weights. And when we ran into each other, he was like, do you know that you're feeling everybody's pain all at once in this room? And we were in a room of about 750 people. And I said, I know that I have the ability to feel other people's pain, but no, I don't realize that I'm feeling all of it at the same time. And he gave me some techniques to really hone into how to feel just me instead of everybody at the same time. He called it shielding. I now use it as bubble work. But that was really the beginning of how I use my gift now. Before that, it was noticing someone, on my team who injured their ankle. And I would get an intuitive hit. Hey, maybe you should try this exercise. And of course, we had our trainers and they were doing PT and things like that. But some of the things that I was receiving as ways to help others were helping them. And that was one of those first inklings of, this is more. And then I started diving into the study and really understanding all of the human body. And as someone who's in aerospace working with astronauts, you really need to understand the human body. And then also, I'm a yoga instructor and a power lifter. I need to understand how to move my body. And all of these things combined to optimize what I now do in body whisper healing. And the body scan technique is really me being empathetic and taking in all of the information that somebody provides to me and feeling in my own body what's going on in their body, and taking all the data that I have, putting it on the table like a puzzle and piecing it together so that we can see the whole picture, and not just like what we see in Western medicine where, your general practitioner is going to send you out to an allergist for that allergy problem, or they're going to send you out to a cardiologist because you have a heart problem, and they're going to send you over to an endocrinologist because you've got some hormone things showing up, and you're going to go to the gynecologist if you're female because you're a female, right? I see the whole picture.
But I feel like Hulk grabbing them and throwing them on the side like he does with Loki.
Exactly.
Don't even get me started with them doctors. But it's funny, Amanda. My wife, she's an empathic. She can feel, it's like, and I bet you some of you guys over here listening to us live, even if you're on the replay, go on LinkedIn, Carlos Siqueira and Amanda Smith, and look for this episode, and then I'll go on YouTube later whenever we lunch. We put this on YouTube, and type in the comments. Have you ever felt heavy when you enter into a room, when you go into a shopping center, when you go into a store, when you go into a doctor's office, and you might be an empathic. You might feel their energy. You might feel their energy.
Everyone's an empath.
For real, right?
Everyone has that ability.
Yeah.
Oh,
And reach
Carlos.
out to Amanda, reach out to Cable, and talk about those things. Put yourself in rooms with others that have been through that and and talk to them, because you might be a healer and not even know. You might have certain abilities that you don't even know that certain societies will label you as all the shit that they love to label people. But go ahead, Amanda, continue, as this is fascinating topic.
Well, so when it comes to understanding whether you're empathic or not, this is what I like to teach people. Think about a time when you were at a grocery store or in an airport and you wanted your own personal space, or you were having a conversation with someone and they were getting way too close. And you felt like, oh, this is my personal space. I need my personal space. That's yours to claim. That's being empathic. You're feeling into what you need and defining your boundary for what other people can impede on you. That's being empathetic from a personal perspective.
I love it. I mean, it's really, really cool and also fascinating. I like healer versus engineer.
Yeah.
Such a great, I just love complete opposite, because how do you balance like your intuitive gifts, with structured analytical mind of an engineer? Like, are there moments where one takes the lead over the other?
Oh, when I'm in a healing session, when I am working with my clients, I tend to stay in flow. Like in this conversation, I would rather stay in flow than to have to go, okay, I'm going to think like an engineer for a moment. No, I'm going to think like an intuitive for a moment. It's all allowing it to flow. And of course, if I'm the vessel, then I have a certain subset of information moving through me and a certain point of logic that I can use. But when it comes to this kind of work, it's all being in flow and allowing the information to flow through to where I can explain it to someone and it'll land for them. And it'll land in a way. There's a movie, Road Trip, where the really smart dude in the bus had to teach someone about math because he was struggling in his math class, and he broke it down. He was like, I could teach math to a monkey as long as I have something to connect with you on. And I think it was like music is what they connected on. And all of a sudden he explained math around music and the guy got it. And that tip right there from Road Trip will forever be something that I use in my work. As long as I have that connection point, I'll be able to help somebody understand what in the world I'm talking about. Talking about toilets in space, explain that.
I know. I love it. And I want to thank you for playing full out, because my guess is they never get, the questions that I'm going to ask, you know what I mean? So that flow can happen. And I bet you guys can feel Amanda's energy. You guys often talk about, you feel my energy, which I get you guys email and text all the time. And that's what I try to do in the show, guys. It's to bring the best of our guests to give you guys, because you never know. Sometimes you might be stuck as something for so long, or I call the crazy loop, right? The infinity. And it might be in a relationship, or at your job, or if you are an athlete, or if you are, it doesn't matter, right? And sometimes talking to somebody like Amanda, having a session with her, having a session with my brother Cable, right? And reaching out to them and talking about it, there might be things that the traditional medicine and science cannot explain. It might be something beyond that in the outer space, in the healing world. And that's why I love it, because my followers, they're very open to things. At least I get a lot of great feedback when we do different themes. Like I often do a lot of things about business and money and staging and branding and blah, blah, blah. But sometimes I bring incredible guests like you, like Cable. Like, the other day I had somebody talking about ET and aliens and how...
Sweet.
Somebody, shoot himself, and an alien was behind that person. I'm like, what the heck? And crazy stuff, guys. Check out the Halloween episode for Carlos Inspires show. But, on another, on a serious tone, I often talk about that the mind is a tool.
Oh, yeah.
The heart is a compass. How do we learn to use both. I just want you guys to process that for a minute, engage in the comments, tag somebody here that might be struggling, that might be that they used to be a high performer, and now that person maybe slowed down. Maybe that person cannot find their flow again. There might be something that Amanda can help you with, by reaching out, by asking questions, getting on a session with her. You never know the things that can happen, by looking and trying and looking to different things. I often see many friends, athletes, take things to a whole nother level when, they go in on that spirit and that healing side, and they try additional things beyond the traditional medicine, which takes me to the next question, Amanda. Working with other female athletes, what have you found to be the biggest challenges they face, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally?
When athletes go down with a sickness, with an unexplained sickness, especially, the coaches don't see this. I was referring to this before, where when we have a physical injury, we have, the cast on, the crutches, a sling, something like that. Those are overtly obvious. Those people cannot do the thing. But when it comes to athletes being injured, and this is male or female, and it's more of a mental struggle or an illness that a coach doesn't necessarily understand, that becomes the biggest struggle, is helping the coach understand, right now I can't be pushed, and helping the athlete understand, this is my boundary. This is what I can and can't do right now. And being able to speak that and live in that power. That's probably their biggest challenge, being athletes, because we want to do the thing. We want to participate in this sport that we love, that we have said, yes, I'm going to do this as the thing that might be paying for your school, might be paying for your bills. But when you physically can't, when you're incapacitated to the point where you cannot do the sport, it's really hard to stand up and say, hey, coach, this isn't happening for me right now, even though the doctors may or may not know what's going on. And that's where the mysterious health conditions come in. For athletes, from a physical condition, a lot of what we're seeing is stomach issues, which the stomach is the second brain. So if the stomach goes down, the brain's going down with it. And that brain-gut axis goes through the vagus nerve. So now we're talking about the nervous system getting involved as well. That combination of those three things is the biggest struggle that athletes are dealing with. And it's not obvious to coaches. And then they have to deal with, I can't play. And the identity crisis that comes with not being able to play or having to contemplate quitting because they can't play.
Interesting. You guys often see, on commercials, I see this quite a bit, they're having a strong gut. You and I understand the gut from a medical and professional level, but it's funny how they use that a lot. And speaking about strong, I often talk about the strongest structures, they are built on a solid foundation. So to your point, right, having that strong gut, understanding if you tried and if you cannot get that gut fixed from a medical standpoint of view, have you tried to look into from a spiritual healing point of view? Right? It doesn't hurt to try, right? You can call it a spook or whatever, but try it out. You just never know. What if you try and now your whole performance increased by a small percentage? You know how often a runner win a gold medal by what time? We're talking about,
milliseconds
of milliseconds, right? and that's the stuff, it's the same thing can be applied in corporate. If you are a CEO, if you are a leader, if you're behind, if your numbers, if you look at your last quarterly numbers, if they're not strong, if you're getting pressure from the board of advisor, you take a look. There might be something there, maybe doesn't hurt to consult with a healer, a spiritual healer, and take a look. It might be a blockage there. It might be something going on over there between the alignment of the chakras and the gut and everything else in the body. All I'm saying, guys, is just saying. You guys, I'm open to things. And one of the biggest things that I've done in life is to be open to things. You guys know the drill. My dream in life, I want to be one of the guys that eradicate hunger, sex trafficking, organ trafficking in the planet. I want to die as knowing as one of those guys that was able to somehow contribute with my efforts, with my initiatives. But the only way I can do it is by making everything inclusive, bringing all of us to sit down on the same table, different political leaders, different religious leaders, sit down, put our indifferences on the side. Because if we do that, I know we can. But until we do that, it won't happen, right? We need everybody to be together because together we can do more. And Amanda, let me get back to this episode instead of preaching it, but that's a lot of pressure. You guys know I love do that in the middle of the segment. I get fired up, but that's a lot of pressure in high performance sports to push through the pain, right? We see that in corporate a lot. I do a lot of sales training. Sometimes the CEOs, they are telling their sales team to do something like, here we go again. And then they hire people like Tony Robbins, myself, and other speakers to come in and do a sales workshop so that they can hear from a different perspective and story, right? So what are your thoughts on the culture around toughing it out versus truly healing?
There's a fine line. And it's like drawing a line in a sand box, literally, because I have a quiz, gutsychickquiz.com, where I help categorize people into how they've been treating their body. And I'm a bruiser. I'm one of those people who pushes and pushes to the max, right? Yes. The other three are the chillster. I'm just going to sit back and wait for an answer to come to me. The stickler, I have to follow the rules. And the brainster.
I love the names.
Thank you. And then there's the brainster. And the brainster is the one who I'm going to go on WebMD and I'm going to figure this out because my doctor has no clue. Right? And then there's the bruiser who's just going to play through it. And there's a fine line. When you're playing through it and nothing's getting better.
Tell us the quiz one more time.
gutsychickquiz.com.
Guys, somebody type this quiz under the comments and go check it out. My sister's quiz. I gotta go check it out myself. She got me. Got me curious. I love
Are you
it.
A bruiser?
Continue. What do you think I am, Amanda?
Honestly, I think you're probably the bruiser.
The bruiser for real.
That type A. I'm gonna move forward and we're gonna get through this, and somehow, some way, I'm gonna figure it out, which ties into the brainster. That's my secondary is brainster. Go figure.
Yeah,
but bruiser is definitely that one who's going to push through, and they're going to figure out how to keep going until their body says there is no way in hell you're going to get to keep going.
Yes, I love them. I love quizzes because it tells us a lot. Even when we work with corporations, it's good to understand. You know what I mean? Who are you dealing with? What are they look like? And then understanding, going deep into those quizzes, and even when we are teaching, right, from the stage, the audience, who are we speaking to, right? All my speakers out there, you guys see me talking about this all the time. What kind of learners are they? Are they visual, right? Are they auditory? Are they kinesthetic? Do they how does your ideal clients and your audience, your raving fans, how do they love to receive your data, your information? If we know they like to receive by video, it's a hint. Do more videos. Put more videos out there. Hey, what is right now? Video is a hot thing. My brother Elon is putting a lot of money into videos. He wants people to do more videos on X. So if we give it to them what they want, the same way with, what is the pain that your client is going through right now? Are you speaking to that pain? Because what is the problem they have and they seek and they don't have? That you can solve it? When you're speaking to that, you're going to have more people coming to you versus the other way around. You don't have to spam people. It's the same thing with social media companies. What do they want? Have you ever asked yourself that question? You give it to the titans. You give it to the bigger companies what they want. You want to steal, a client from your competitor? Solve their problem in half of the time. You can even charge more money. Wealthy people, celebrities, high performers, they will pay more money to solve that pain, to solve that issue. If you can fix it in half of the time, they will pay you more money, right? Maybe you're struggling, you cannot deal, you don't know how to fix something in your health, you want to become a better performer as an athlete in your field. Hey, reach out to Amanda, right? It doesn't hurt to get a second opinion, right? But again, it's just like, I know, I'm going deep in here stuff, but I love it. And Amanda, tell me something. I mean, you achieved so much already, from NASA projects to healing others. Just congratulations on your success, my friend. I'm really enjoying this conversation, and I'm having a great feeling as I'm looking at the likes and the hearts here from the audience, they are with us live. What is next for you, Amanda? I mean, what mission are you focused on right now, my friend?
Ooh, pick a mission. I'm not too far off from what you're doing, Carlos. My mission, honestly, is to help support those who are underserved. My heart has been in Africa since I went to Kenya a long time ago, and to be boots on the ground and realize they have water everywhere.
Yeah.
They just don't have access to water.
Yep.
That is one of my biggest missions, is to be able to provide them with better access to water, because then the women don't have to go and fetch the water and not go to school. That solves some things for those people.
Yeah.
That's one of my missions. And then feeding the homeless. I've been on that train for a long time. I used to work with another entrepreneur up in Boulder. So I'm in the Denver area. I used to go up to Boulder and help her cook and then deliver that food out to the homeless, and just sit and have a conversation with them. Just have a normal, connected conversation with them and give them a hug. Those are moments where they get to see humanity, and they get to know, like, I'm seen. And that's important.
I love that. As you're talking, I was just self-reflecting here. Yesterday was veterans. And often, when you go out there, a lot of those guys, they're out there, they were a veteran, and the system just drugged them. And yeah, as you and I know, there's a lot of corruption. A lot of the money really doesn't go just to the stuff that they're supposed to go. Yeah, I grew up in Brazil. I'm half Brazilian, half American. And, in Brazil, they just like straight up corrupted. Over here, it's just the differences in U.S. and first world countries is organized crime. It's just like everything is hard to catch it, and it's like an idea for you, like, through the Carlos Inspire show. I always funded my own causes, but lately it's been getting so crazy. I just spent millions of dollars in Brazil dealing with people that would try to kidnap my family, and I had to kind of change operations down there. And now I'm just going full blown, inspiring my people and myself to go out there, to raise cash, go on parking lots, go on the streets. You don't have to donate to the Carlos Inspire show. If you have a story you wanted to be interviewed on my show, I did a campaign called Name Your Price, where people can donate a certain amount, and then we showcase their story, and then we go on the streets. We can do more. We challenge them to go do the same as all in their own places, and if they do it, I tell them, if whenever you have a book, let me know. I have 100,000 plus followers throughout social media. I'll give you a shout out to your book, because not only you contribute to the show, but you also went and did it yourself in your own town, and you send me a little picture. But like I always tell, you don't have to put the phone on somebody's face when you do it. Just do it. Maybe as you're out there in the parking lot, inspiring others to go do it. And an idea for you, Amanda, because you also have a podcast, and maybe do an initiative where raising money and redirecting that money to Kenya. I'm a big follower. I'm from Brazil. My family is Black, white, and Native Indian from the Amazon. So we have a lot of people that from Africa that came in. So as part of my family, I have a lot of friends out there. Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, the Bubu Senas, and we were out there at the World Cup back in 2010. But I love Africa, and you're right. Just like in Brazil, we have so much, resources, but what the heck? Like, why are people still dying from hunger and all these issues? And now we have these issues here in US. So, own backyard. And the only way we can fix it, it's by, doing those missions, creating awareness. Thank God you and I, we have platforms. We have a large following of loyal fans that listen to our shows, and we're going to keep pushing it. The goal is to give my brother Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson a run for their money. We want to, we'll get to a few million episodes. You guys watch me, and be like, the Brewster, right? The Bruiser, whatever we call it. I need to take that quiz. No, I love it, man. And I mean, as we get close to the end of this show, man, what a great episode. I bet you my audience is going to love it so much. They're going to want to do part 2 in 2025. But I mean, the final question to the show. Actually, before I ask you the final question, that's a teaching moment, by the way, Jordan. You create curiosity. Where is the best place that they can follow up with you, my friend? Where do you hang out the most on social media? Is it on a particular social media platform, or is it on your website? What is the best place that they can continue this conversation?
Well, you mentioned my podcast. Spirit of an Athlete is the name of the podcast. And I interview women who are athletes that are sharing their gritty stories and then sharing how they're supporting humankind, how they're helping people to grow and heal. And that's on YouTube, as well as all of the major platforms to watch a podcast. That is where you can find me the most. I'm also, of course, on all the social medias, LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook and, all the places. But YouTube is the place for Spirit of an Athlete. And of course, go take Gutsy Chick Quiz, gutsychickquiz.com, and bodywhisperhealing.com is my website.
No, I love it. I love it. I got to connect you with a few athletes myself so that you can interview them on your show. Team captain, Team USA MMA, Janae Noonan. And so I'll make sure that I'll make that connection. Remind me. We were here live, right? Shout out. And no way to forget. But guys, check it out. And I love it. And then it brings us to the last question of the show is 70 years from now. You are 100 years old. They're going to read your eulogy. And I doubt I'll be alive by then. But if I would, I'll be there with my Italian hat, smoking a cigar, drinking some scotch, listening to some AC/DC or Metallica or Iron Maiden or something. And your best friend's going to read it. And he's going to say, Amanda Smith was ... In your own words, sister, who was Amanda Smith?
I just wrote this eulogy, actually, and did a ceremony around it and threw it in a fire and said, after I'm done with that eulogy, I'm going to walk away. So my best friend wrote the eulogy, and she said that I was someone who made her feel seen and made her feel heard and made her feel loved. And she knew that was my mission. That was why I was brought to this existence in this density, in this body, was to share that message, to help others feel seen, heard, and know that they're loved.
Wow. What a beautiful thing. You just gave me an idea, to start asking people, what would your best friend say in your eulogy? What a great thing to do. Have your best friend write it to you and say it while we are alive.
She also started with, of course you died before me. And you know how much I hate standing in front of people talking about anything.
There, you got me thinking here about something now. Oh God, wow! You see, that's why I love to do this question, because so many people have been on the show, as you guys know, that they're no longer here and they answer this question. Leaders of leaders, and wow, Janae. Oh, Janae, I'm thinking about connecting you with Janae now. You guys gonna hit. Janae's a beast.
Sweet.
Team captain from Team USA MMA. You two gonna hit off. It's gonna be great. I cannot wait to listen to that episode.
Is she a bruiser?
She is like, man, she's probably a bruiser, a brainster. She's all the above. I bet you Janae gonna be listening to this. I'm like, yeah, Carlos. We did a great episode with Team USA. Check it out, guys. Probably a couple of months ago, we did this episode. We've been doing so many episodes. I cannot even keep up with the numbers anymore. But if you guys type in Carlos Inspire Show, Team USA, great episode I did with Team USA on the show. It was incredible. You know, some people even reported to me that they had tears about the show. But Amanda Smith, so excited, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on the show and playing full out. What an incredible episode. Guys, you guys know the drill. We do this show for free. We try to bring the best out of our guests, influencers like Amanda, celebrities, athletes, anybody that's out there. Have a message, is inspiring, is empowering. That's the goal. That's the goal, is to have something powerful long after we are all dead, that you guys can go back, refer to it, learn, apply it, those tactical strategies that we try to bring here often. And it's going to make it happen. Just go empower. Tag somebody here, share this, follow us. I would appreciate. We are 5-star on Apple. We'd love to continue that. If you guys could give us a review on Apple Podcasts, go on Amazon Music, go on YouTube Music, go on Alexa. If you have a smart house, hey, Alexa, play Carlos Inspire Show, episode number 83 with Amanda Smith. You know, all those things that helps us strengthen. The more that you talk to Alexa, and if Alexa keep hearing it, Carlos Inspire Show, it will keep pushing us to the top. A little pro tip. And give us, Spotify, iHeartRadio, sorry, all my incredible platforms that we work on, but I appreciate if you guys could go in each one of those platforms, Carlos Inspire Show, so we can continue grow. We are getting a few thousand downloads per episode. We're doing some incredible things. LinkedIn has been blowing it up, hundreds of thousands of impressions a week. So I'm grateful. I am truly grateful to all of you. Without you guys, we couldn't do this. We couldn't inspire and empower the tens of thousands of people that we've done it on the streets over this last 20 plus years. As you guys know, I've been interviewing since MySpace. Your brother Carlos is getting old. That's 2001. Oh my God, but talk about, as you guys know, I love this stuff. And, as I always end the show, life is all about the mission, never the commission. And you guys know the drill. Whenever you feel like tired, if you are an athlete, a high performer, thinking about quitting, not performing the levels that you were, even if you're just starting and you're struggling, don't compare your chapter 2 with somebody else chapter 30. Comparison just brings more anxiety and all that crap. If somebody cheated on you and betrayed you, it's their loss. When one door closes, 1,000,000 doors will open. And if you ever feel like pulling that trigger, jumping, killing yourself or whatever, just reach out before you do it. Remind yourself that a little kid, little Carlos, 7 years old, wanted to do that too. But he kept selling that bread on the streets, even though he beat some crazy odds. Father dying on a car explosion, stepfather being murdered. You guys know the drill. The days that breaks us are truly the days, my friends, that makes us. Stay blessed.